Hey y'all, this is Coach Brian. Your teacher, Miss Summerall, sent me some questions that you had for me. So I wanted to get into them and maybe I'm a firm believer in helping people understand how to aim in life. If you don't know what to aim at, you can never get there. So maybe some of these questions I answer for you will help you aim a little bit better. You may not know anyone like me. You may be interested in going to a career like this or some of the side projects I have. So we're going to get to a Q&A and hopefully I can be able to help you guys out with it. All right, so question number one is, how did I get into acting? About 15 years ago, there was a advertisement online for someone that had MMA experience to do a part in a movie called Blood Out that starred 50 Cent, Val Kilmer, and Luke Goss. It was being filmed in Louisiana, so I put in for it, and I got it. And that was my first. That was my first acting gig. It was a really cool opportunity to be able to go out there, and I was really nervous. And strangely enough, I went on set. And I sat down. I was by myself. I had my gear, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And this tall, skinny guy walked up to me and sat next to me and had an English accent. So we talked, and he talked about MMA. And it turns out this is the lead actor, Luke Goss. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's kind of a smaller actor, but he was lead in this particular movie called Blood Out. And we talked about MMA stuff. I didn't know he was famous. He's actually part of a big, huge boy band back in the '90s. So take a look at him. But that's my experience with most of the actors in all the movies that I've been in, is they're all super cool. They're just humans. They're just there to do a job, and I did it. And then a bigger part of it is to do a good job, have a good attitude, be authentic with people that you interact with, and you'll do fine. It's not hard. Question number two: how did I get so big? Do I use steroids? So I don't really see myself as big, and that's part of probably what helps me with my work ethic. Is I always feel like I have some more room to grow. So I'm always pushing myself to do more. And that's how you grow muscle. Part of what you have to understand with muscle growth is you have to challenge your muscle to go in hypertrophy. And what the idea in that is, you have to do something heavy, push something heavy, so that your muscles will adapt to that heavy pushing or pulling, and then grow to compensate for that particular work. And the steroids for it, of course, not. I don't do steroids. Sorry, my dog's making noises. Part of what you have to understand is people take steroids to compensate for bad behavior. So they may not sleep well, they may not eat enough protein, or they may not do things right, particularly for training. So they take the easy way out and use performance enhancing drugs. And that's the way that works. Number three is it's a great question. I'm going to try to answer it for you. What does it take to do something great? One time, or not one time, I have a friend that is a multi-millionaire, and he invented a restaurant called Rock and Roll Sushi. And he did it in my spare bedroom, him and his wife. And they're lifelong friends now. He hasn't changed a whole lot. He's from an area like you're from, small town, graduated with maybe 40, 50 people. Him and I are both from areas like that, so we get along in the sense that we have that whole time loyalty to friends type of mentality, and so that's the way that works. Now, he did something great. He came to me 15 years ago. He's like, I want to build this restaurant up and do a good job on it, and then sell it and retire. And that's what he did. So how did he do that? You have to have an idea or a concept in your head on how to really not take anyone's advice for things. You want to listen to people, but do it. Most everybody's going to say, don't do that, it's not a good idea. What his biggest thing is do something and ask for forgiveness later. And this may sound weird to you, or kind of contrary to what things happen in school. Like, you don't want to do things that that your teacher may say not to do. But what that means is like, people said don't put a sushi restaurant in the mall. Why would you do that? So he did that anyway, and he worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and it became a multi-million-dollar business. And now they are a part of 70 different stores all over the nation, and there's like 3,000 or 4,000 people that work for the organization. And he started from nothing. He didn't have money. He didn't have anything but a good idea. So to do something great, you have to have this idea of like, I'm going to do this, and there's no backup plan. It's do or die. I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. They're only lessons, and you just keep pushing forward. And you don't quit, and that's how you make something great. Is that you don't quit. Don't let anything get in your way of what you want to do, and that's how you win. Now, question number 4 is, how do you lift so much? Is that good for you? Part of what you want to do, and I mentioned this before in the process of hypertrophy, is you want to lift things so that your body adapts to it. And what studies show is that the stronger you are when you get older, you better your chances of quality of life and a longer life is more common. So what happens with most people when they get older is their brain doesn't fail, as their body starts to fail. So you want to maintain your strength levels so that you can do normal things like squat, pick something off the ground, put it on your shoulder. Normal daily living activities of like, walking 2 to 3 miles a day. It's what's going to keep you healthy. So it is good for you. Next question is number 5. Are you really the evil workout overlord? Yes. Question number 6. How tall are you? I'm 6'2". And what do I eat to get buff? Part of what you have to understand, you have to eat enough. And what is enough is enough. And what that is nutrient dense food. You want to eat a diet consistent of meats, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and fruit. And the reason why you want to do that is because the chemical components of those foods have nutrients, and those nutrients are essential to building muscle. Your body looks at muscle as being an extravagance, that it doesn't need it for survival, but if you give it enough food because you're thriving, it will allow you to grow. So I eat protein, I eat meats and vegetables, seeds, nuts, and fruit, and I repeat that daily. Currently, I'm eating something called chicken nuggets, and this is something I make from home. It's a chicken tender with some herbs and spices on it, and I snack on it during the day instead of eating like potato chips. So this is protein. It's essential to build muscle. So that's what that works. All right. What advice do I have for, next question is number 7, advice for middle schoolers. There's so much I want to tell you, but it can get kind of difficult for you to follow. So I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. If you have your parents, or if you have a caretaker, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles are taking care of you, whatever it may be, love and cherish them. They're making a sacrifice in their life to take care of you, and that is to be respected. You should do everything within your power to respect and honor their sacrifice to you by becoming the best person that you can be. Number 2, I would start taking the ACT in your 9th grade year. Take it 3 times a year until you're a senior. And what that is like you learning how to practice a little bit, and every time you take it, you're going to get a little bit better. My daughter, I started her in 7th grade, and she eventually made a 34 on her English and a 32 overall. 36 is perfect score, and she got a full ride scholarship to University of Alabama to college. So, if you can score high enough, there's nothing that they'll basically give the world to you. And if you don't score high enough, you're going to score higher than you probably would have, and that's okay too. College is not for everybody, but that doesn't mean that you can't try. You may unlock a door that you may think that you're not capable of, and that door comes and opens for you, and before you know it, you're like my friend. You're opening up a multi-million-dollar sushi business, and he had zero experience in sushi. So you just got to open up that door sometimes, let the universe take care of you. Next question is, how long have you been training? Since I was about 5 years old. I did 3 sports in high school and grade school. I went from baseball to soccer to basketball to karate and taekwondo and flipped around those until I became got in high school. In high school, I went from football to basketball. Then I played 3 different leagues of baseball in the summertime. So that was my life. I've never stopped training since. I went from there to the military. From the military, and I started doing MMA. And then after the MMA career was over, I opened up a CrossFit facility. And I did that for 15 years. So this is my life. Number 9. Is it fun to be an actor, and how do I deal with Mrs. Summerall? Now, I love being. It's fun. My last acting gig, I got to go and deploy from a helicopter and take John Travolta, throw him on the ground and talk to him and all kinds of fun stuff. Pick up Gina Carano and carry her to an SUV, and a lot of that stuff is because I had the MMA experience, but also military experience. So I got to play a commando that was coming in to kidnap some people and I was a bad guy. So that was super fun. How do I deal with Miss Summerall? Probably the same way that she deals with you, with lots of love and lots of patience. Number 10, are you ever nervous for the movie you're playing in? There's when you first walk on set, you don't know anybody, so you're walking into you feel like a very judgmental type of atmosphere, and it's really not the case. It's just you thinking that it is. Everybody I've ever walked into any type of set has always been super cool. So that is awesome. As far as being nervous goes, I have this kind of saying that the longest, deepest, hardest road is always the most transformative. So if you wake up every day with the thought that I'm going to do the hardest thing that I can do today, and that may be for you is make up your bed and clean your clean your room up. If that's the hardest thing that you can do today, do it. Because the more of those things that you do on a daily basis, the easier that those things are. Conversely, the opposite of that is the less that you do, the less that you experience, the less that you go out and do things in the world, the harder life is on you. So go do that hard thing. Become really good at it. Love doing things that you dislike, and everything will be given to you in life. How did I bring myself to do the Spartan thing? I don't know what Spartan thing you're talking about, but I'm going to talk about this one. My first Spartan thing was a 24-hour obstacle course race in Iceland in the middle of winter. And what that means is we ran up and down mountains for 24 hours straight and climbed the obstacles and all that kind of stuff. But also, I brought disabled veterans with me, so I had to help them up the mountain and down the mountain. So how did I bring myself to do it? I just did it. That's it. Part of what it plays in part in another thing that we were talking about earlier. Whenever you do hard things on a daily basis, you become conditioned to be able to do more hard things. So that I looked at that was the hardest thing that I could do. So I need to go do it. Good, bad, or whatever. I was gonna do it. So I don't look at being scared of being a failure. I look at whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to learn from, and then I can push through it and learn from it. Part of what happened within that whole situation is I built this program that your teacher is doing because of this, to prepare me to be able to do this long-term endurance for 24 hours. Because back then, I'm a bigger guy. I was heavier than everybody in that group by like 40, 50 pounds. So it makes things a little bit harder for me to be able to maintain my cardiovascular capacity during that time domain. So I had to change the way I train a little bit. So number 13 is what do you have goals that you've recently accomplished? Yes. I recently bought a Jeep that I've always wanted to own. I owned a Jeep earlier in my life, and I had to sell it to finance my gym, and I haven't had one since. Now that the gym has done well and all these other things are going pretty decent for me, I decided to splurge and buy a second car, and it's a 2017 Jeep Rubicon Unlimited. There's only 100 of those built for that year. It's only got 30,000 miles on it. It's been kept in a garage and well maintained. It has all the bells and whistles, big tires, speakers, lights, all the things that you think are cool. I might send you a picture of it. What encouraged you to keep pushing, keep going? My dad always taught me uh, this phrase is like, we don't have quitters in our family. So there you go. I don't quit. Next question is, what made me who I am? This is a very difficult question. But the way I want to explain it to you is the things that happen in your life, there's going to be good, there's going to be bad. Some religions believe that the only truth in life is suffering, that every human being is going to suffer. And once you understand that suffering is part of life, you understand that, God isn't out to get you. And that once you, come to terms with that, then things become a lot easier. So what made me who I am in life? Number one, the suffering. But number two was learning how to react to it in a way that is beneficial to me. The next question is, do I like doing events and traveling? The more things that you do in life, the more memories you make, and I feel like it helps your brain expand past the small little circle of where you are. And when you do things like that, you grow more. So doing events where there's excitement and there's like-minded people and you're doing the same things, you're among a tribe of people that's important to you. That's important. But also traveling and seeing things that are uncommon for you and your sight, like the Grand Canyon. You're not going to ever see anything like that ever in the world. So it kind of creates a different kind of imprint into your brain. So go do that stuff, even if it's just walking in the field by your mom and dad's house. Make sure you talk to somebody about it before you do it, but go and do that kind of stuff. It's to your benefit. What inspired me to become a coach? I think coaches become coaches because they have a particular talent, and after going through athletics and things like that, and they have to be able to pay it back to the community. So I had a lot of coaches that showed me how to live my life and do things and do things correctly. So it's now my turn to pass that baton. There's going to be times in your life you might be an electrician, you might be a lawyer, you might be a doctor, you might be a wife or a homemaker, you may be someone that's driving trucks. You're going to teach somebody on how to do your job. So then you're going to be a coach. And then how do you facilitate that? One thing I like to tell people is if you see something, you got to say something. If you let someone do something wrong or incorrectly, and you see it and you don't say nothing, you're not being loving to them. The most loving thing that you can do for people sometimes is say something and let them know that they're doing something wrong. So that's why I became a coach. How long did it take me to get fit? Now, so that's a very diverse question. Let me answer it to you this way. When the definition of fitness is survivability. And if you think about a curve from one point to another, most people are over here and they're sick. right? If you try, as you get in better shape, you get a little bit more fit, you become well. And then as you continue working, you get better, you're going to go to the other side of the curve, you're going to become fit. And what happens between here and here is all the blood pressure issues and weight issues, depression, anxiety is all taken care of. And those things kind of go away. But what that does for you is when you're over here in this fitness world, it's like wearing an invisible armor. And what I mean by that is if you get into a car wreck, or if if cancer was to come, or COVID, that kind of stuff occurs, you've got this invisible armor here, and you've got to travel all the way back over to sick before it becomes a problem. So it buys you some time. It buys you some time. So it's not really about how long it take me to get fit. It's that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, so I can have the best quality of life going forward, and maintain my survivability in the trials and tribulations of life. Because if you get into a battle, you want to be prepared for it. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. What hobbies do I have besides working out? I like that one. I have a great little dog. Him and I going for walks, hang out with my friends. I play PlayStation. I'm a normal person. I like making videos and doing things like that. I think one of my biggest hobbies, though, is listening to audiobooks and reading books. Expanding my base level of knowledge and constantly growing is my hobby. How did I get so big and strong? Lots of hard work. Work is the way. Next question, number 21, is how much do I bench? So at different times in my life, I've had different weights. Probably right now I'm around like 350 pounds. I have benched 395 pounds before. How much do I deadlift? Right now, probably around 450, 475. I haven't been lifting heavy in a while. I'm still lifting heavy, but not for 1 rep max. There's a little bit difference there. But my best deadlift was 605. How are you that strong? Next question is, how are you that strong and can never do that? You are awesome. Let me just tell you, my dad used to say something, can't, never, could do a thing. You can do that. You just have to have that, what we talked about earlier, just the mentality of that you're not going to quit. And wherever you get is where you get, as long as you don't quit. And you will get there as long as you don't quit within your capacity. So just keep on doing that and you'll be awesome. You're awesome right now. You have all the potential in the world. You are a young adolescent. You're going to be a young adult soon. You have your whole life in front of you. Your choices matter. So make the right kind of choices. Make the right kind of choices to doing hard work and persevering through different difficulties in life, and understand that you only get one shot at this, and that in this whole mix of life, and that the only way that you can fail at anything is if you quit. So just don't ever quit. And those are all the questions, all 23 of them. Summer's coming up, and I want to challenge you to do something. I want you to go do 2 things. I want you to volunteer this summer, someplace that could use your time. So like maybe find an elderly family member that might need their grass cut, or their car washed, or their house cleaned, or their clothes washed. Give them a little bit of honor and the hard work of their life, and do something nice for them. And number 2, go do something hard every day. If you do something hard every day and you become good at that, you'll never fail at life, ever. So let's do that. Thanks for asking the questions. I hope this will help you out, and I had fun doing it. You guys take care. Be safe this summer. Don't make any lifelong decisions that's going to affect you for the rest of your life while you're young. Just do a good job every day.